All right, we want to welcome all of our viewers and listeners live to the Crown Council podcast today. We're listening to the experts of our resource partners of the Crown Council. Today we have Jacquelyn Hurley from Solution Reach. Solution Reach based out of Utah County area of Utah. And Solution Reach has been a long time Crown Council resource partner. And during the current times in which we are in now, Jacquelyn here today to talk to us about a three-phased approach on working with our patients and how to communicate with our patients. And I think that it's so important right now to be communicating with our patients. And so we're excited to hear from Jacquelyn. Jacquelyn, before we get underway, feel free to just give a little more detail on Solution Reach, and because Solution Reach has grown so much over the years, what used to be simple now provides so many options for your clients.
It's true. We started out with just patient reminders, and we quickly moved into all sorts of communication. As far as communication with patients, I would consider us a leader in patient communication management. As far as we have 26,000 clients, we've been in business since the year 2000, and we keep adding to our platform. So it's a robust system, and whatever the pain points are in a practice, we can pretty much help you with any of those pain points and share with you the benefits of how Solution Reach can help you with all of those things.
Thanks, Jacquelyn. Jacquelyn was with us at our most recent annual event in Nashville, a popular table for our members to visit. We have many members of the Crown Council that utilize Solution Reach and their services, products and services. So Jacquelyn, as we spoke about these different phases, kind of a phased approach for our offices to be doing right now, let's jump right in there and
okay.
share with us these three phases that we can be a little more proactive right now.
Okay. Yeah, so there are three phases. The phase one is the things that you should be doing right now if you have not already done. Typically at this point in the game, most of these things we're hoping have already been done. But at the same time, we're going to quickly go through that. The second phase is kind of recovery mode and what you can do to prepare for the growth mode. So basically, the first thing that we say you should do is the first step is to deactivate all of your automated messaging. This includes probably your recall messages, and you can decide what you want to deactivate or not. But I have actually been on the phones with our support team helping deactivate a lot of our clients right now. All the automated messaging as far as reminders, recall, and then we also offer a voice messaging service, which we've also deactivated that. So you kind of have to decide what you want deactivated, if you want your surveys deactivated, those kind of things. So that's probably the first step in what should happen. The next step is to track all of your canceled appointments. Make sure that you are keeping track of who was on the schedule, that obviously you had to cancel those appointments. I had a conversation with a doctor last week, and he said, Jacquelyn, what if as we cancel these appointments, we move these patients onto, where do we move these patients so we can track them? And the thing about Solution Reach is and he's used Dentrix, so we can pull his quick call list in Dentrix and track. So if he's moving all those people onto his quick call list, those patients will also be pulled into recall, so that once he gets ready to turn recall back on, typically the majority of those patients are hygiene appointments. We will automate getting those patients back in through the recall process, but at the same time, they have those patients on the quick call list so that they can prioritize who they need to get back in and when. The next step is obviously keep communication with your patients via text or email. We have a solution called Conversations. It's a two-way texting option. If I don't know about you, Spencer, but as a patient, I want to be able to text my care provider. And it makes it so simple if you as a practice have implemented the two-way text option so that patients can just text into the landline of the practice and you can communicate with them effortlessly. This saves time for your team. You can multitask. It's a more efficient way of communication. So that's been huge. The fourth thing is to let patients know how to reach you in case of an emergency. And this is information you can put out via email, through your texting. You could put it on your social media sites. I know I had a call last week with my social practice, and they're all about just educating through social media. And they basically said Facebook is the #1 social media site to get the word out. And then obviously post some things on your website, and you can even put it on your voicemail message. If patients are still calling in to your phone system, you can put a message there on the best way. And then you kind of have to define what emergency is, right, to your patients. So as this communication process happens, you kind of need to define that. To me, emergency is if I'm in dire pain, I want to get in now, right? And so those are some of the things that you need to discuss, or at least to educate your patients on. We also feel like it's important to send out more newsletters, and newsletters go via email. It's just simply staying in touch, staying top of mind, giving peace of mind to your patients that you're doing everything you can as a care practitioner to keep the patient safe, the team safe, and that you will, you currently have a very modified schedule, but that you will, as soon as you can get back and practicing again, you will let them know and what's going on with all of that. Solution Reach has created probably 20 COVID templates that you can choose from for these newsletters. So if you're a Solution Reach client and you jump into your newsletter library, look under emergencies, and you will be able to find all of those COVID newsletters, and you can tweak those according to what you want to say to your patients, but it's there for you. We just want you to know that we're there for you to help you. And then if you're giving updates, sorry, do you have a question or anything, Spencer?
What I would say, Jacquelyn, so far from everything you have mentioned is that you cannot communicate too much right now with your patients / clients. I mean, if you think about it, the statistics are showing that social media and the time that people are spending on their handheld devices is up about 30%. And so they need this communication. So
Correct.
in my opinion, it sounds like, Jacquelyn, that one dentist should not choose whether they're going to use Facebook, email, Instagram, or text messaging. They should be using all of it in order to provide the information that the patients need to be informed.
Absolutely. And patients look for different sources of medium for all of that. So why not use all of them just to make sure patients are getting the word out from the practitioner?
Yeah.
And I think as part of this information, you need to kind of stay updated with what's going on within your state regulations, things so that there's a lot of sources out there. Patients are looking at a lot of different sources for the updates, to look for updates that are going on. And so I think it's important for the practitioner to stay updated with all the COVID-19 information, especially that's specific to the American Dental Association and the World Health Organization and those kind of things, so that they can give accurate and be a trusted source of information to their patients.
Yeah, I think you've touched on a key point there. It's you really begin to trust your physician when your physician is the one. Like I get these regular updates of like stay healthy tips and tricks for my family, for my
Yes.
physician, and you're like, you trust them that much more. And I would expect the same from my dentist on sharing the same kind of content. And I also think it's important to make mention that for those that use Facebook, they don't use Instagram. For those that use email, they don't use text. And that is why to utilize all forms of communication is helpful, because it
I
captures
agree.
it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you can even, in Solution Reach, we have a way that you can target different patients for different information. Maybe you need to send one piece of information to patients with scheduled appointments and another piece of information to patients who may be high risk. And so you can actually create different groups and send different newsletters or different texts or emails to individual patients within Solution Reach as well.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So let's jump on to phase 2. Phase 2 is the recovery or getting ready to open mode and what you need to do to prepare for that. So the number one thing is your goal as a practitioner is to create a safe, healthy environment. And this includes being safe physically as well as being safe emotionally. That means physically making sure your treatment rooms are in order, making sure the waiting room is in order, cleaning out your supply closets or sanitizing your equipment, right? Making sure everything's ready for when you are ready to open again. This also means taking care of your team members emotionally. Maybe you need to have more team meetings. Maybe you need to have more one-on-ones with your individuals, because during this time, I find myself going in and out of like playing with my mind, like, okay, I'm home, am I really good? You know, you start questioning. And so you kind of need to make sure that you're checking in as a practitioner. It's not a time to just take off. You need to prepare and even sharpen your tools. There's a lot of different webinars going on all over the place right now so that you can learn more about certain procedures or products or practice management tools. There's so many things going on right now to learn more. Take time and have your team take time to learn more skills and to get better at what you do. The next thing is look through your lists of all the patients that you've scheduled and determine the patient priority, right? Which patients are you going to have to get in first? And I would say this phase is probably 2 weeks prior to when you're going to open up, when you're ready to open, so that you know who you're going to message first. You can actually start messaging them, trying to get them in the schedule. I would keep your schedule as is, but you, with like 2 weeks out, keep the people that you've had on the schedule, but you've got a whole slew of patients that you've had to cancel their appointments. So consider which patients you need to try to get in sooner than others. Consider which patients might be considered high risk. You may think about maybe even designating 1 day a week for your high risk patients. You may need to extend some hours or some days in order to fit all of those patients back into the schedule. The new normal is going to be different, right? Coming out of this. And so I just think these are some key things that we can think about and plan for. And then probably 2 weeks prior to when you're ready to open, let patients know when you will be reopening again and give them, and you can announce this again through all of those means of communication we talked about. Your email, your text, your social media, your website, make sure all of that is updated. You can put it on your answering machine in the office, and then include how to schedule. You know, maybe you offer an online scheduler, include a link to an online scheduler where they can go and see when you have openings once you start taking patients again. So you can start getting patients back on the schedule again. You may have to tweak some times on your schedule. You might have to add 5 to 10 minutes in between appointments for an extra sanitizing process. And then again, this is a time to be empathetic with everyone, and you may have to be flexible with cancellation policies and some things like that. Patients are going to come back a little bit probably nervous. Do I dare come back in? Because this is probably going to be around for a while. And so we're all just in this together, and we're all just being empathetic and compassionate to one another, because some people are dealing with some really hard things right now.
Yeah.
A couple other things you can prepare for in this phase is maybe add a pre-visit instruction to your messaging that will go out once the reminders get turned back on. A pre-visit message might include, if you are experiencing symptoms such as cough, fever, shortness of breath, please contact our office before your appointment. These are things that we may have to have as a pre-visit instruction for a while. The other thing is maybe do some preparation on a couple of other things to get more digital savvy, whether it is an online scheduler or whether it is digital intake forms. The goal is to relieve any reason to bring in papers and things like that that could still transmit COVID. So look at some of those options. I know Solution Reach has offered a printable questionnaire that you can add to our SR intake forms. And it's questions that ask specific questions about, have you come in contact with a person that's had COVID lately? Or have you, just a certain questionnaire along those lines, so that you're doing everything that you can do to keep your patients safe, your team safe, and your environment safe. And then we kind of do you have any questions about phase 2? I thought I don't want to jump to phase 3 until we kind of have passed.
Yeah.
We're good?
Feel free for anyone to chime in. But phase 2 is critical. I think, as you've mentioned, the preparation of it. I do know that patients will be more leery. And so once again, to over communicate the fact that you're prepared and you've done the things that are necessary to reopen and welcome your patients back in, that they can feel safe, is so important. So that's a great point there, Jacquelyn. I'm excited to hear phase 3 here.
Okay. Well, phase 3 kind of is just predicting the new normal and figuring out what that new normal looks like, right? And obviously, you're going to remain focused on keeping your team members safe and your patients safe moving forward into phase 3. You're going to stay focused on offering all of the convenient ways for patients to communicate with the practice so that they can receive care. And take an open-minded approach in all of the new technologies that are out there. Solution Reach currently is, we're doing a webinar series, and anyone's welcome to join it over the next few weeks. It's all about these phases, actually, and it will go into more depth on how we can help providers with each of these phases. But one of the things that we're doing is we're getting into telehealth, and we're working on a solution to help with telehealth, which I think that's going to be a huge thing going forward. So next week we should be talking a little bit more about that in our webinar series. If anyone wants to join that, you can just go to solutionreach.com to join that. But as part of phase 3, I think encourage the two-way texting. Let patients know that they have the ability to text in to the practice landline just by texting and implementing all the tools that we've talked about so far. Implement the online scheduling tool. Once you reactivate your recall, if you have the SR scheduling module, that will take the link in that email will take them straight to the online scheduler. And so that will help patients know the times and days available for when they can get in. It just kind of gives them a heads up without kind of playing phone tag back and forth. And the thing I've seen with online scheduling in dentistry, there's a kind of quite a few options when it comes to online scheduling or what appointment types you want to put in there, as far as like obviously hygiene is a huge one. Hygiene appointments, whether it's a new patient consultation or an existing patient. I've seen emergency visits listed on your online schedule. I've seen even whitening consultation if patients are concerned about whitening or invisible, and with the new telehealth options, you can even include a telehealth option if there is a patient that's concerned about, coming into the practice. You could even create an appointment type around that.
Hmm.
The other thing to implement is that digital intake process, and I think just get that going so patients are familiar with how that works. They can fill out the entire intake form on their phone. That includes signing their HIPAA forms, signing all of the information that you would want them to sign, as well as giving you all the health history information, as well as those new COVID questions. Make sure they're implementing those as well. And then once this is all said and done, the goal is, if you've taken procedures properly to take care of your patients through phase 1 and 2, by all means, phase 3, you're going to have patients come tell you what an amazing job you did as their care provider. And at that point, ask them if they would mind sharing their experience online, so you can actually strengthen your online reviews at that point. And I just think all of these phases are key in getting through this process successfully. And it's not just you're not just going to survive, but you will thrive through this. And I think you can come out stronger in the end. This could be one of your best years yet if you utilize all of these tools.
Wow, thanks, Jacquelyn. Would you take a minute to also explain to those that are listening? I shared a link in the invitation for the $50 gift card as well. Talk to us about the process of that.
Okay, sure. And you can even text. So the link, so like Spencer said, the link that will go out, it's actually offering a $50 gift card if you'd like to take some time to have your own personal consultation on how Solution Reach can help you come back through this COVID process. If you wanted to text, I can give you a number to text the keyword crown, and I can send you that link as well. But it sounds like you'll be getting the link through Spencer, so there's probably no need to do that. But if you wanted to get a hold of me or text the keyword crown, it's 801-899-5390. And you will receive a $50 gift card for just letting our product specialist take you through how maybe we can help you thrive through this COVID and come back. It'll be your comeback story. If you want to sign up for our webinar series, just go to solutionreach.com and you'll see a registration link there to sign up for our webinar series. It's over the next few weeks, and it'll go into more in depth each of these phases that I've talked about today.
Perfect. So our viewers know, as I've mentioned, Solution Reach is a longtime Crown Council resource partner of ours. All of Jacquelyn's information, the link, their site, their contact information is provided on the email network that I shared before jumping on here, and we will reshare this in the message that we will send out to the Crown Council network. So I'm going to unmute everyone and just ask anyone if they have any questions based on the three-phased approach that Jacquelyn has shared with us today, and open it up for conversation.
Sounds great, Spencer.
Also, if you're feeling like you want to type in your question, you can also do that in the little box down at the bottom, or just chime in. Jacquelyn, I think that Jacquelyn did such a great job explaining the three phases, and as well as where to gather the information. that I so far don't have any additional questions. Anyone else before we begin kind of the wrap up of today's live podcast? Very good. Jacquelyn, we want to tell you how much we appreciate you, your support. I think that the three-phased approach from Solution Reach is critical as we start getting back into, well, number one, communicating with our patients today. Number two, preparing for phase three, which is bringing our patients back in and how to do so. What a great rollout to our membership today, and we want to say thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate being here. I really do. Thank you, Spencer.
Again, thanks for our viewers and listeners today on the live podcast. We'll share this with the Crown Council on the email network. And Jacquelyn, thanks again for joining us, and hope everything continues to go so well with Solution Reach.
Thank you. Same for you. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.